So my name's Hannah. I'm head of recruitment for the for the University of Aberdeen International Study Centre. And I'm also joined with me today by Kezia, who is in our central student support team. So if you have any questions about accommodation or pre-arrival, you'll be emailing Ksenia. So you'll see her on screen and you'll be emailing her, I'm sure, a lot over the next month. I'm also joined by one of our past students, Faizan. Faizan studied our International Year 2 in Computer Science with us and has just progressed on to the next year of his Computer Science degree at the University of Aberdeen. So if you have any questions for a current student about what it's really like, Faizan's here for all those questions and also just to tell us a bit more about his experience. We have a question and answer box on Zoom, so please do take advantage of that. We want to hear all your questions. This is a space for you to solve all your kind of concerns before you travel and study with us. So please do ask questions throughout, and then at the end we'll have some time, and I'll open the floor up to questions. I believe my colleague Karen is also joining us. I'll just see if she's in the room yet. Yes, okay. So Karen is our head of student services. So she's going to support you in terms of your welfare outside of the classroom while you're studying with us. So I'll also let her introduce herself in a minute. Okay, I can see Karen. Hi, Karen.
Hi, everybody. Sorry about being late. It's one of those things when you've got students, you have to do things at the last minute. So you always come first when you're here. All right. So that's the important thing to remember. But myself and my team are here to support you all the way through. And hopefully Faizan will be able to say that that is the case. It's been wonderful having him here and as one of our student reps and now as one of our ambassadors. So looking forward to seeing you all.
Great, thank you. All right, let's go on to the next slide. All right, so what's today's session? So we're essentially getting you ready to study with us, as I said, either in November or in January. So what are your next steps? Visa time, so the steps with your visa application, and then telling you a little bit more about what to expect when you first arrive. So the location of Scotland and Aberdeen, why to choose the University of Aberdeen, what will your experience be like at the International Study Centre, where to live, so accommodation, why do we have a November start, so how is it different to January, and then let's see, some scholarship availability, how to get any more of your questions answered with our centre staff, and then what's next for you to make sure you arrive on time at the University of Aberdeen. Okay, so next step. So you might be in two categories. So you've either got your offer, but you haven't confirmed your place yet, or you confirmed your place and are currently going through the visa process. So we'll start with the first group. So if you've confirmed your place, but you have outstanding conditions on your offer, it's really important that you're working quite hard to get those conditions met. So that's providing all your academic transcripts that we haven't seen yet. Maybe you've got an IELTS test outstanding that you need to provide to us. So before you can fully confirm your place and start your visa application, you do need an unconditional offer. So it's important you submit all those documents to us through your agency, your counsellor, into our admissions team who will process your application. To receive your CAS, you also need to pay your confirmation payment, and that information is on your offer letter. And there will be a secure payment link on your offer letter, so please only pay your fees through that secure payment link. Once you've done that, so you've met your conditions, you're an unconditional offer holder, you've paid your fee, it's time to start thinking about the visa, it's your CAS. So the first thing that we do is we typically send you a pre-CAS, which is a document to show all the information that we are going to give the UK Visa Authority about you. So your full name, your date of birth, your course of study. That's a bit later on my little list here. So the CAS preview. So you look over it, sign it, make sure the spelling's all correct, your date of birth's all correct. It's just a second pair of eyes on your information, and you'll sign that to show that it's all accurate. Then there might be some additional things that we'll ask of certain groups of students who, during their visa application process, might have certain more steps to go through. So if we are quite confident that you might have an interview as part of your visa process, we will have you go through a pre-CAS interview with us. That's just, again, making sure that you are prepared for your visa application if this is likely to happen in the real thing. So it's asking the same kind of questions that you'll have at the visa interview, making sure you've done all the thinking in advance, done your research in advance of the actual visa date, so that when you show up to your visa appointment, you are hopefully relaxed and confident to portray the best version of yourself at the visa interview, again, with all that thought having gone into your answers already. In addition, we might look at your financial documents before we give you the CAS. Again, if we think it's likely this will happen during the visa application process, we're likely to have a look at your financial documents also in advance. Your funds, so that's your outstanding tuition fee, and your living expenses must be in your account for 28 consecutive days. That allows the UK Visa Authority to have confidence that you have those funds available for your studies. And so we check it over just to make sure, again, there's no additional barriers to you receiving that visa. And then there's also some information that we ask for you to send us before we give you that CAS, just so you're all confirmed on our systems. So that's, previous visa history is obviously very important because it does impact future visa applications. So we need that context before we can give you the CAS. And we also need your additional information, so your insurance, your emergency contact details. If anything happens while you're here, we need to know who to contact. And if you've already planned your living arrangements, we do need to know where you'll be living. And if you don't know at this point, we will ask for it a bit later because we do need to know where you're living. Okay, let's go next slides. CAS deadline. So what we do is we look at your start date of your course, and the most important thing is that you arrive on time. And then what we do is we work our way back and say, if you're applying from these countries, this is the current processing time for your visa, and therefore this is the latest that you can receive your CAS and still arrive on time. Now, these are all for our November starts, which is the foundation year only. So that's the November programs. And if you don't see your country on this list, please do ask your agent, your counselor, and they can go through our list and find exactly what is the latest date you can get the CAS to, again, successfully arrive on time for the November start. It's important you're not late for November because it is a short addition to our January academics. I'll tell you about it in a bit later, but again, you can't be late to these start dates. And so you applying for your visa on time and going through the right visa service, either priority, super priority, is very, very important. Okay, we'll go to the next slide. So this is for January starts. Again, this is just for the foundation. So a bit more time if you're studying with us only starting in January. Again, we'll talk about what the difference between November and January is in a few slides, but you should see your countries here. And again, to make sure you are arriving on time for the course start date and you are not going to be late. Okay, the ICAS. So the ICAS is a combined visa. So it's available for the International Year 2. The International Year 2 is when you study with us at the International Study Centre for 1 year, and then you progress into a university degree for years 3 and 4, and then you graduate. And it's all on one visa, so you do not need to apply for a visa a second time after you progress or in your progression journey. This visa is issued by the University of Aberdeen, which means they have different deadlines. And you can see the deadlines here. So it's a January start. You need to be CAS ready by the 24th of November, and they'll issue the latest CAS by the 8th of December. If the university has any more flexibility or they change the dates, they will let us know, and we'll let your agents know. So we'll be keeping up with you, but we would just say, visa process takes a little bit of time, and it's something that's going to be outstanding between you and your arrival at the study centre. So do work quite hard towards making sure you meet all your conditions, you're 100% ready for the visa, your CAS ready. So yeah, make sure you're working quite hard to become 100% unconditional and providing all your CAS documents, because these visa deadlines are quite strict so that you can arrive on time. Okay. And so these are the kind of steps between your CAS and your arrival. So obviously we just talked a lot about you arriving on time and receiving your visa. We'll talk a bit later about your accommodation because we've got Ksenia with us who's going to support you in that process. It is important that you know where you're going to live before you travel. I would really, really ask you not to travel without securing your accommodation because, again, this is a point of your security in the UK. It means that you're in a better position to be in a secure position to attend class on time, to achieve your academic grades and to progress to the university. We don't want you to put any more barriers in your way to receiving those grades and that progression. There will be deadlines on your offer letter about paying your fees. And again, so have a look at what's required and make sure you're paying through that secure payment link on your offer letter. After you receive your visa and within the start of the course, make sure you book your travel to arrive on time. You will be able to tell us when you are traveling on the pre-registration form on the Welcome Hub. And we really do need that information again so we can prepare for your arrival. We'll also ask where you're living and your contact information just so we can make sure you're arriving on time and keep track of you. The final things I would say, this is a little bit before all the other processes. I would say at the end of today, after you hang up from the call, go and check your passport and make sure it's valid for at least 6 months from your program start date. If it's not, obviously it's going to be challenging to apply for your visa, challenging to travel. So that should be the first thing you do today. Make sure you have a valid passport because we know that process can take a little bit of time through your local country. So that should be priority. And let's go on. So the pre-registration form is also a space where you can book your taxi. We will have an additional session on pre-arrival. So I will say we'll talk about packing, we'll talk about travel, we'll talk about taxis in an additional session. So that will come up on another webinar day. But let's go on to the next slide now. Okay, City of Aberdeen. I think, Karen, do you want to talk to us a little bit about the City of Aberdeen?
Yes, I can. Obviously, it is a city, so we have a beautiful cathedral, but it is sort of home to 4 of the 5 highest mountains in Britain. You can go mountaineering. I'm not sure whether Faizan did, but there's lots of things to actually do in Aberdeen. As you can see from the pictures, we have beautiful coastline. We also have skiing in the winter, and it is a major port. It is the oil capital of Europe. And indeed now, recently, only last month, Aberdeen opened its second part of their port. So Aberdeen is now the largest port in the UK. So that's something new. And there is a little fact there that says about the hours of sunshine. It is in the top sunniest cities in the UK. I wouldn't say that is today. It's rather chilly, but we have all weathers. So it is important. As you can see pictures of snow, and I know some of you might not have ever seen snow. We don't have a lot, I'll be honest, because we're on the coast, so that helps us. Okay, but it's also very affordable. So accommodation-wise, we don't have an issue with accommodation for students, and unlike some other cities like Glasgow. So it is easy to organise, but it is important to do so before you arrive. Okay. So links, as you can see there, we might be northeast of Scotland, but there's a lot of Scotland under us and even a lot more above us. So you get the opportunity to travel, but it doesn't mean that it's time consuming. So a couple of hours and you'll be down in Glasgow and Edinburgh. It says there by train, takes roughly 2.5 hours. But you can also do it by bus. And if you're under 22, you can do that for free. London, the flights, we do have an international airport, but it's quite small. So just be warned. However, we've got major links. So there really isn't a problem. Most of you you'll either come through London up to Aberdeen, or you'll go via Amsterdam, depending on what's easiest for yourselves. Okay. What's it like? Well, you see, I think probably Faizan would be better at describing this, but it is a safe city. Okay, it is beautiful with the granite. However, if it's raining, the granite doesn't sparkle. But we are a sparkling city. We do have the purple flag for accreditation. However, you do need to make sure that you don't just swim in the sea, all right, because it is there is a riptide. So long as you've got people with you, you'll be fine. But I think you might find it's a little bit chilly to what you're used to if you currently live on the coast. And the Scottish Mountains, as I've already mentioned, and you can walk to the beach from the campus, which is where I'm based in Aberdeen, old Aberdeen in the city. So you can see pictures of the dolphins. The dolphins regularly chase the boats in and out of the port. You can go dolphin spotting. So it is very nice. But it does take a while to find your bearings. That's all. Okay.
Maybe we can have Faizan also talk about his experience. I think that'd be great.
Yeah. So things to do. You can go further afield, obviously. And there are lots of walks. There's lots of things to go and see. And the iconic Aberdeen steam train, which was featured in the Harry Potter movies, that goes from Fort William, a little bit further south. So there's lots you can do. So Faizan, what did you get up to whilst you were with us?
I would firstly I would visit the castle in Stonehaven. It's really beautiful. I even went to Edinburgh. There are a lot of parks and amusement parks in Aberdeen as well. So it's a really beautiful city. The architecture, you love the architecture a lot. Like I have sent pictures to my friends and they are really jealous that they also want to be here. The weather is really good. Yeah, in December and January, it gets a little cold. So you might want to bring your jackets with you. But yes, the weather overall is really good. It's generally a very peaceful and quiet city. So you won't find a lot of traffic or a lot of noise on the streets. And the people here are really friendly and supportive. So you won't feel like an outsider. Also because you are joining the ISC. So every student is an international student. So it will be really easy for you to make friends and get along with everyone.
Okay, so throughout the year, there are lots of different events that happen in Scotland. So we've got diverse culture. We have all the special Highland games, etc. And so you can go and visit them. We've got history. There's lots of different social life. We've even got our own football stadium for Aberdeen Football Club. And obviously lots of different wildlife. So you can see the puffins there and you can see the Highland coo. And there's just so much to see. But you need to sometimes go a little bit out of your comfort zone. Once you've made friends, it's easier to travel. And I think that's generally what people do. Although we do organise some events, but often students prefer to do it on their own. You want me to do that? Okay, so average monthly spend. I'm not really sure how up to date these are, I will be honest. So accommodation, it does vary. So student accommodation includes all your bills, of course, and your Wi-Fi. And we do recommend that for your foundation year here at the ISC. It's much easier because you don't know the city. You don't know the parts and how long it's going to take you to get in from that accommodation, especially at different times of the year. So I think it is better for that, and it does vary. Groceries, well, we have had some students who live on takeaways, so clearly that £80 isn't going to go very far, okay? But once you've got your groceries and you find the nearest supermarket, and we've got lots of different continental supermarkets, international ones, a Chinese supermarket, halal supermarkets. It is easy to find some of the foods that possibly you might be craving and missing from home. Okay. Transport, I've already mentioned, it is free for under 22s, although you do need to apply for your Young Scot card and we will help you do that. Mobile phone contracts, there are lots of different contracts, and we do require you to have a UK phone number. That's part of your visa compliance. Clothing, basically, you can find all sorts here. You do need warmer clothing, I would say. But in the summer, we did have in excess of 30 degrees. So you also need some of your summer bits and pieces. And buying, yes, there's lots of stores. We have Primark, which is very reasonably priced, up to some of the designer stores. So it's fine. And you can also shop in Edinburgh and Glasgow. Interests and hobbies, obviously it's showing some weights. You can get special membership to the sports club, to the Aberdeen Sports Centre as part of being a student. And you can eat out. Every type of food is available in Aberdeen. And leisure, again, it depends what you want to do. As Faison's already mentioned, we've got theme parks, we've got different castles. Some are free to walk round, some just in the grounds, and you just pay to actually go in the actual castle itself. You can go free on the bus to Dunnottar Castle, which is in Stonehaven. You can then walk down to the lovely harbour, get your fish and chips, get your ice creams. Just mind those seagulls, because they will want to share. Okay. Okay, so I'll pass back to Helen.
Yes, sure. Okay, University of Aberdeen. So this is some of the reasons why you might be choosing the University of Aberdeen. Obviously, we've already heard a lot about what a safe city it's located in, with a lot of beautiful environment around it. And yeah, as I said, very safe. The purple flag is to do with safe nightlife as well. So lots going on, but yeah, very, very secure environment. The university itself is a very old, prestigious university in the UK. So it's actually the 5th oldest university in the UK, founded in 1495. And it's very well regarded in the UK. So within domestic rankings, it's top 15. So it's one of the local ranking guides. It's also in the top 200 in the world. So yeah, very, very well established and has been for many, many years. So a very old, well-regarded university. I also want to show you the pictures on the screen. So you can see on the right the kind of old historic buildings that you would expect of a university of this age. But there's also been so much investment in the university, and you'll get to benefit from those millions of pounds of investment, both if you're doing, say, a research degree or a more scientific degree where you can benefit from all the equipment. But also, this is the library, which has won many architectural prizes for its design. The inside is just as modern, and so this is a space where you can go study outside of class. So there's a lot of investment so that you have the best study experience.
I just want to point out that picture on the right is actually King's College Chapel, which is an absolutely beautiful building. And should you decide to stay on, you can even get married in that chapel, should you wish, and indeed so staff and students. So that is something. But you can also attend services. People play beautiful music, because obviously Aberdeen's also got its music school. So there is so much happening, and you are welcome to join in. And I think that is something that is really good for Aberdeen University. Many universities, when they work in partnership, don't want to be as inclusive as Aberdeen. And I can honestly say that there isn't anything you can't do. And maybe Faizan might want to say some of the other things, but you are part of the university, but we hang on to you a little bit and support you in addition to what the university is doing. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, top level, as we said, over 500 years old, 3rd oldest university in Scotland, 5th in the UK. Got a good number of international student population, so it's 62nd for international student numbers from 130 different countries. Let's see, and then rankings, rising in the rankings. So these are world rankings, so it's risen to 41 for international students choosing Aberdeen. Very high student satisfaction. So it's 2nd in Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, and 12th throughout the UK. So that means students are very happy on campus with their experience. We've got really high graduate outcomes for employment. So 98% 3.8% of graduates are in the next step of their journey within 15 months. And then finally, let's see. Okay, so yeah, really focused on other like sustainability aspects, so clean water and sanitation, reduced inequalities. So kind of yeah, world leading in that respect of working towards sustainability. Okay. So these are kind of rankings. So as we've said, it's very low cost of living in Aberdeen. I know that the accommodation started within the 400s. I think 450 is a good starting point for accommodation, which I will say I was quite surprised to hear, having lived in other areas of the UK. That is very cheap. I don't think you'll find that value for money, including bills and being able to walk around campus in many other locations. So I think Aberdeen is very cheap for living costs. Let's see, there's a lot of clubs and societies. Maybe I'll go over to Faizan for this bit. Have you got involved in any societies on the Aberdeen campus?
Sure. So yeah, there are like lots of societies, like you cannot even count them. So there are societies for everything. If you are into a cultural society, if you are into a religious society, if you want to join science and tech society, any specific subject or any particular sports, there are societies for everything. For example, I've joined the AI society and the computing science society, and there are a lot of people prefer to join the sports societies. So you can even create your own society. So for example, one of my friends has started a religious society, so you can do whatever you like.
Okay, wonderful. And maybe you can also tell us about like the campus facilities. So what's your experience about the physical environment?
So to be honest, the library, like the first time I saw the library, I was just like, I'll sit here for the whole day. The library is really beautiful. And there are labs for computing science. There are labs for every subject. There are separate libraries for law students and medical science students. As an ISC student, you have access to every facility that a normal university student has. And the libraries, the university is open generally till 12, so you can spend your whole day in the library studying. So yeah, the university has a lot of facilities that you can take use of.
Okay, wonderful. And we'll go to the final bit, teaching quality. So what's your experience with academics at the university?
Yes, so transferring from the ISC to the university, obviously, because the university, now I'm in year 3, so it is a bit different. But at the ISC, they'll help you develop your basic skills. So the university not only focuses on your theoretical concepts, but they also help you build your physical practical skills. So which are really important for your CV and your career. So you'll have the chance to work on different software projects. For example, in my case, I'm working on a software project with a group, so that I can apply for internships. The university has something called Careers and Employability Services, which post regularly internships and jobs where you can apply for different things. So yeah, the university is really supportive in terms of your career and in terms of, so for example, the university also has a career counselor for each individual subject. If you want to ask any questions, if you want help with your CVs or resume or your cover letter, if you want to apply for internships, you can just go to book an appointment, and they are really helpful. So they've been helping me a lot as well.
Wonderful. Let's go on the next slide. Okay. So yeah, Aberdeen's got some really great rankings for particular subjects. So you might see your subject on there. They're very good for example, like medicine and like anatomy. They've got very good physical science. Also kind of physics and engineering. We see that quite high on the rankings. But as you can see, like very well ranked across many subjects, just showing the kind of quality of teaching and research at the university. Okay, Faizan's hinted at this already. So yeah, very good employability. I think because the university does invest in students' particular interests and where they want to go next, they put a lot of support behind you in terms of just lifting you up to the next step in your own journey. As he said, you've got career counselors for each academic subject, because we know that obviously you need specific skills depending on what area you're studying and what what your next career step will be. Let me try and think. Anything you'd add, Faizan, into employability?
Yes, so there are like lots of opportunities at the University of Aberdeen. You don't have to go to individual websites to look for internships. Obviously, that's an additional option if you want to do that. But there's a careers and employability portal where you can find lots of internships and part-time jobs where you can apply. And the university's career and employability service will help you apply to those internships. They'll help you with your CVs, they'll proofread it for you, they'll suggest edits. If you are confused, if you are about what particular field you want to join or what particular job you want to apply for, they are always there for you. You can like easily get in touch with them. And because I already mentioned that the university focuses a lot on your practical skills, which is a really good thing. You'll get the chance to work on a lot of projects within your degree. For example, in my case, there's something called the Student Factory, Aberdeen Student Factory. So which is a student-run software house where you get the chance to work on a lot of projects with the industry, which is really helpful for your CV.
Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to send you this slide deck with all the slides after, but we would recommend going to watch this video. We think it's quite powerful in showing you, the physical environment of Aberdeen, but also what the students are, hoping to achieve. Next, campus. So this is the campus. You can see, you can see the makeup. The International Studies Centre is on campus, so you will not be separate in any way to the university students, and it's really easy again to access support while you're on campus. I think, Faizan, do you have a favourite building on campus?
The library.
The library's your favourite?
Yeah, I'm usually in the library the whole day.
Wonderful. Okay.
I just want to add there that we are actually based in the Regent building, but we're no longer just solely using that building. So that is where the students' experience team is. That's where we have a couple of classrooms. So all the tutors are based here for when they're not teaching. But we do now have classrooms in number 18 McRobert building. We also have classrooms in the Taylor building, number 21, and in New Kings, number 23. But we will explain all of that to you when you come. But the main thing is to find us in number 24, the Regent building, which is here, right in the centre of campus.
Okay. As we said, you will get these slides, so have a look through the virtual tours, the interactive videos. You can familiarize yourself before you travel, and then, as we said, during your first week of the course, you will receive a lot of hands-on support to get oriented with the campus. Some of the university facilities, so as you said, a lot of investment. Engineering facility had over $1 million invested in teaching and research equipment. Faizan's favourite building, the library, so that's the Sir Duncan Rice Library, has won a lot of architectural prizes. So you'll enjoy being in that physical environment, and a very peaceful place for you to really focus on your studies. We're very high ranked in, as I said, medicine and anatomy. So that's reflected in the fact we've got a very large health campus. So if you're studying, biomedical science, for example, great facilities there. Let's see. So sports facilities. So there's an Olympic-sized sports, what's called swimming pool, but also a lot of sports clubs. If you're interested in sports, there's a lot of options for you, both gyms, but also clubs, societies, teams to play in. There's lots of options. Let's see, there's a museum if you want to have that kind of cultural experience whilst on campus, and also, as we said, a lot of science equipment, science teaching hubs with a lot of investment and a lot of facilities. So there's a lot of support for you in terms of facilities, but also, as we've said, a lot of people on campus to help you make sure you achieve your goals. Okay, now we'll go to the study centre. I think we'll pass over to you, Karen. Let's go to the next slide. There we go.
So what's expected to join the ISC? So our classes are no bigger than 25. So, and some are much smaller, so that's great. You do get the opportunity to talk to your tutors You can ask questions throughout and indeed at the end of your classes. So you won't be in the big lecture halls with 200 plus students initially. Okay, so whilst you're with us, it's very small classes, lots of individual attention. We do have a progress coach called John, and he will be here to support you in any areas. I think the biggest thing here for both the personal progress coach and the welfare support is about asking for help. Please do not feel that asking for help is a weakness. It is indeed a huge strength, recognizing your own strengths and weaknesses, and there's always somebody that can help. We can't do it for you, but we can certainly support you and put you in the right direction. So our welfare officer is called Chelsea, and she's obviously going to be here. And we will be talking to you about staying safe, living healthily, eating carefully, that sort of thing. And we do keep an eye on you. You know, you're all very special to us. Social events and activities. Well, we do arrange lots of activities. We're currently preparing for Halloween. So we have a pumpkin carving session coming up. And, you know, there's lots of things that you might not have ever done before. And there might be things that you have done that you're really not bothered about. But we cater for all our students. And we currently have about 18, 19 different international students from different countries. And indeed, our staff are also international. So I think we've got 11 or 12 different nationalities amongst our staff. So you're not the only international people here. We truly are diverse and inclusive.
If you're a November starter, confirmed on the course, you probably know me because I've been in touch with you. If you're not confirmed on the course yet, once you are confirmed, I will be in touch with you regarding accommodation. If you're a January starter, I will be in touch with you probably closer to mid-November to provide you accommodation information. But just to recap on accommodation that we are offering. So we partner with the Student Roost, one of the leading accommodation providers in Aberdeen. And we allocate our students in two main residences, which are Pittodrie Street, located 15 minutes walking distance from the study center, and Mill Market Exchange, which is 25-minute walking distance from the IC. Prices differed, but approximately the prices start from £145 for ensuite room and goes up to £275 for platinum studio flat. All rooms, irrespectively if you go for ensuite room or a studio flat, they're all furnished with a small double bed, a desk, chair, underbed storage, wardrobe, and also chest of drawers. If you will be allocated at ensuite room, you will be expected to share your living space and kitchen with between 4 to 9 other students. If you opt for studio flat, basically you won't be sharing any living space or your kitchen. It will be all in the flat. Hannah already mentioned that it's really important that you secure accommodation with us before you arrive to Aberdeen. And just to add to that, if you're an undating student, you have to secure accommodation with us. Unless you will be living with your relative or family member, and we can approve your living arrangements, because we need to ensure that you have safe and secure accommodation for the whole duration of your studying with us. If you're over 18 student, you can arrange your own accommodation, but please bear in mind that it's a requirement of your student visa that you live within 60-minute commute from the study center. And as international student, it may be a bit overwhelming and hard for you to find your own accommodation if you arrive to UK without having your accommodation secured. So please get in touch with us to let us know about your accommodation plan, and basically just to let us know what you plan to do if you're over 18 student. And yes, if you are January or unconfirmed November student, we will be in touch with you shortly.
Lovely. And I'd just like to add to that, really. It is important that you find your accommodation before you arrive. Yes, we've got hotels. Yes, there are Airbnb properties, but they're not secure and they're not usually in close walking distance. Okay, most of the hotels are the other side of the city or in the middle of the city. Yes, you can get buses, but they're not secure. And as Denzia said, that it is important, part of your UK BI compliance for your visa, that you have accommodation in the area. We do appreciate that some students have relatives up and down the country, maybe in England, Birmingham, Glasgow, wherever it might be, but it is not appropriate to be living that far away. It is not within 60 minutes. I'm afraid it's more like 3 hours commute to Glasgow when it's rush hour and you're trying to be here. And we do worry about well-being. So not only is it a requirement, but also think about having to do 6 hours travel before you put in a full day study. It really is too much. Okay, so it is important that you find it. And listen, you'll make lots of friends. So to look at individual accommodation once you've progressed to the university, when you know the area, is much easier. Okay.
Oh, sorry, Hannah. I think you're on mute.
Perfect. Thank you, Mel. Hi, everyone. So talking about the start dates. So we have our academic teaching starting in January, but for the foundation, we have added a November start, which is enhanced induction. So what does this mean? This is 3 additional weeks of face-to-face classes. So it's from late November to mid-December. And this is to help you settle into the environment. So a lot about British education is understanding a new education style. So what we're trying to do both throughout your entire period at the International Study Centre, but also really a focused effort in these 3 weeks is getting you used to the academic environment. So what are your tutors looking for? How do you write essays? How do you participate in class so that you get the most out of your learning? What are your teachers looking for when they set assignments? To get your top grades available, it's also important to understand the cultural environment and the academic culture. And so we did really focus on this in the first 3 weeks, but then in the entirety of your course. And so let's see, this is the same tuition fee as if you were starting with us in September or January, but this is just an extra value added on for you if you want to take advantage of these additional kind of study skills for the first 3 weeks. Let's go to the next slide. As I said, yeah. So for the 3 weeks, it'll be a face-to-face classes, so 15 hours per week. We'll be focusing again on communication skills, so both your English, your academic English, your digital literacy, which is a key part of studying, understanding how to use all the equipment, and as I said, the equipment you'll need to submit your assignments and to do your assignments, but also familiarizing yourself with the campus in the UK, opening your UK bank account, understanding the local area. We really want that by the time it comes to January, you've had a lot of time to settle in, you know what is expected of you in class, you know how to get those high grades because you understand the culture, and you can really focus on your academic learning. So if you want to take advantage of that, yeah, we suggest starting with us in November, same tuition fee, and then progressing to your academic study, and we'll be teaching the academic content from January. If you're studying, say, for example, the International Year 2, that is only available from January, just because it's on that joint visa, the ICAS, but you will have all those study skills integrated within your curriculum as well. Okay, scholarships. We know this is a key question sometimes for you. There's 2 types of scholarships. The scholarships for the International Study Centre courses, but also for when you progress to a university degree at the university. So as you can see, I'm just going to move my screen so I can see this. So there's it depends if you are an undergraduate or a postgraduate student. If you're with me today, you are going to be undergraduate, so we'll be looking at that top one. And so it does depend on your grades. So we are looking for you to achieve at least 68% in your pathway. And then there's scholarships for each year of your undergraduate degree on progression. So that's 2,500. This is only self-funded students, so not unfortunately if you're government sponsored. And it does not also apply to the medicine pathway, which was our September offer, so will not be applicable to any of you. So yeah, if you're self-funded, you should be able to apply for these scholarships. The next one. Okay, so this is regardless if you came through the International Study Centre or if you applied directly to the university degree, there are scholarships depending on where you come from in the world. And there's a lot more information actually on these and all the conditions on the university website. So I really would look at the university website for all the details. But yeah, depending on where you're coming from, they have different amounts depending on nationality.
Can I just mention something in addition to that unfortunately you would only get one scholarship from the University of Aberdeen. So if you achieve the up to 2,500 from progressing and getting your grades of 68% and above, then you might not be entitled to one of these. But what the university does is allocate the highest scholarship that you are that is available to you, depending on your situation, the country you come from, and indeed your grades. So I just don't want people to think that they would get 2,000 plus 2,500 and have to work that into their fees. All right, but they are quite good and allocate the most that you are entitled to.
Okay, thank you. All right, next steps. Let's have a look. Okay. So yes, after you've confirmed your place, we really do want you to access that Welcome Hub, which has a lot of information such as a pre-arrival guide for you to download, a place for you to submit your emergency contact information, a place for you to submit your pre-registration form, which is telling us about your arrival. I don't know, Ksenia, so you're in charge of the Welcome Hub. Is there any additional information you'd give on these steps?
No, but basically it's really important that you fill out your pre-registration, which include your arrival details, so we know when to expect you. And the closer it gets to the start date of your course, we'll be chasing you for that if you haven't filled it out yet, simply because then we know when to expect you to arrive to your accommodation and to the study center. So the team in the center knows when to expect you and to support you the best they can. What also is good about Welcome Hub, that it's basically one place for all information you need to prepare for your arrival. It has pre-arrival guide, which is going to give you understanding of what to expect traveling to UK, starting with like money questions, weather questions, how to get to the study center, and also basically what to pack. Because it can be a bit overwhelming if you are traveling abroad for the first time and being international student for the first time. So it also contains details as to how to activate your university email account, how to check your Zoom account, and how to test your study group account as well, because we will also ask students to test it at least 48 hours before the course start date to ensure that you actually have access and you don't have any issues accessing your Study Smart. So if you haven't done so yet, please do check Welcome Hub.
Wonderful. As Ksenia said, yeah, there's a lot to think about when you're first looking to pack and to travel. We will have a pre-arrival event separate to this. We'll have another webinar. The information will be on the Welcome Hub about the date. I imagine you'll also all get some emails about it, but that will go through a bit more practical advice about getting ready to study. So travel, accommodation, but also, yeah, just a lot more practical support, as you can see on the screen. I'll also say we do require you to look at insurance. We advise you to look at insurance at this stage. You will have access to the healthcare system in the UK through your visa, but insurance does give you a lot more additional support. So things like if your travel plans do not go smoothly, if you have delayed departure, if you lose luggage, but also things like if you're in the UK studying and something emergency happens and you have to go home, for example, in a very emergency situation, that's called emergency repatriation. And sometimes it's very, very expensive if it's a medical issue that you have to get flown home for. So I would suggest have a look at the insurance we provide, have a look at what it covers. You might want to go with that because it's obviously set up right for students, or see if you can find really equivalent insurance so that you are supported while in the UK. If anything happens, any situation that is likely to come up, you have insurance to support you in those areas. This is a real benefit for wanting to study at the University of Aberdeen ISC. The staff at the centre have set aside time for you to ask questions. So maybe your parents are a little nervous about you studying abroad. Maybe you yourself have got some questions about your experience. You have the opportunity to book a 15-minute slot so you can sit one-on-one with one of the centre staff and talk through any of your kind of questions or concerns about studying at the University of Aberdeen ISC. As we said, very happy to have your family members asking the questions as well. There is a link on the slide deck, and you'll get the slide deck emailed to you afterwards. So yeah, go through, find a calendar space, and then you can get all your questions answered before you arrive. All right, finally, Global Student Ambassador Program. So one of the benefits we have of studying with the ISC is we do really focus again on your employability skills. And one of the ways you can get involved in this is taking part in the Global Student Ambassador Program, which is an opportunity to help us convey your experience to future students. The ways we ask you to get involved is things like blog writing, so being involved in videos, events like this, face-to-face webinars you can speak at, taking over our social media. So all these kind of things give you skills that you can use in your CV for the future. So you can say, I've got experience in public speaking because I've, with this example of taking part in these webinars, skills are always more powerful on your CV if you've got examples of where you've used them. Taking part in social media or vlogs, kind of creative outlets. If you're interested in marketing in the future, again, this is a really great benefit of showing practical experience in these areas. And it also just, increases your network, increases your confidence. So if you want to, support us as by being an ambassador, we'll have a link, I think, on the next slide, but also we'll talk to you about it when you first arrive as the opportunity to sign up. I don't know, Faizan, were you one of our ambassadors? Is there anything you want to speak about your experience?
Yes, so the Global Student Ambassador Program is really helps you to develop your confidence, develop your communication skills. You get the opportunity to share your daily life, what activities you are involved in. You can share a lot of videos with them of the city, of your university, of what you eat, of what you're doing in your free time. You can write blogs, you can answer to questions from the students. So it really helps you develop a better version of yourself. You get the confidence, you get those communication skills. For example, I got the opportunity to take part in a lot of meetings, a lot of webinars, which has really helped me to build up my confidence.
Okay, great, thank you. Let's go on the next slide. Okay, so now it's time, if you've got any questions, we are here for you. So we've got that Q&A box. I don't think we've had any so far, but does anyone have any questions getting ready to study at the University of Aberdeen ISC? None so far. I mean, while we wait, Faizan, do you have any advice for the students? Anything you wish you knew right before you were traveling?
Yes, so I'll suggest everyone to have a look at the modules that the ISC is offering and have some background knowledge of those modules, which will help you get ahead of other students. So this is really crucial. And also, obviously, I would recommend everyone to ask as many questions in classes as possible, because I personally love to ask questions, and the teachers at the ISC are really friendly, really helpful. They never stop you from asking questions. You can email them at any time. You can ask questions in the class. So if you ask more questions, you'll develop interest in that subject. And if you do that, you'll automatically perform well in the subject. Also, because the weather in Aberdeen might be a bit different from your country, so I would suggest you pack some warm clothes.
So Faizan, you're from Pakistan, right? So I imagine it's a very different environment.
Yes, I'm from the southern part of Pakistan, and I've never seen snowfall before this.
Okay, yeah. So how was your experience getting used to the environment in Scotland?
Actually, I love cold weather, so I didn't really face any trouble adjusting to the environment. And yes, it's because in Pakistan it's really warm, so this is really good for me.
Okay, great. I think we've had one question. Okay. The details of the ICAS. So the ICAS is a document that's provided to you by the University of Aberdeen, and it's essentially going to cover your visa when you receive the ICAS, and the visa in association is going to cover your entire university degree. So it will cover the international year 2, it will cover year 3 and year 4. So you do not need to reapply for your visa once you have finished your ISC program. Let's go back to the slide. Can we do that, Mo? Easy. So because it's a university CAS, they will have some additional checks. They'll check over your documents all again themselves, which does take a little bit of extra time, which is why the visa process isn't as quick when it goes through the ICAS, because as I said, another pair of eyes need to look through it. Sorry, it's right at the start, isn't it? Here we go. Okay. Ooh, there we go. Okay, so it's that combined visa. We do ask your documents. This is the deadline the university has given us right now. If they can give us a little bit extra time, they'll tell us and we can extend the deadline. But yeah, I would work towards getting all your documents to be ready for applying for your visa by the 24th of November. And that's again the deadline that we give so that we think you will arrive on time on campus. If there's priority visa service in your country and you can communicate that to us and you think, well, you and your agent think that you will arrive on time, we can see if there's any flexibility. But I would really at this moment work towards the 24th of November. Did you have any other questions about the visa? That's just the deadline. Oh, I'll say we've answered that live, but yeah, please do write any more you've got. You're from Ecuador. When we send you the CAS letter, I mean, we will once your CAS ready, we will send the CAS usually within 48 hours. So it's just about you submitting the documents. Let's see if we've got Ecuador on this document. Potentially you're asking because it's not there. So if it's not there, I would work towards the earliest deadline. So if you're starting in November, try and be CAS ready by the 20th of October. But yeah, speak to your local agent because they will have the visa turnaround times for your country. They'll speak to our admission staff and they'll know the exact deadline for your area of the world. But work towards the 20th of October, which is very soon for the November start. But yeah, do communicate if, say, there's a quicker turnaround time in your country with visas being issued, and we can be a bit more flexible, especially for the foundation programs because we are the ones issuing you the CAS.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope that answered that.
So back to ICAS, the University of Aberdeen are quite strict about their deadlines. So as much as we will certainly try, if you need a little extra time, we cannot guarantee that will be granted. And if you miss that deadline for the International Year 2 programme, then you would have to defer until the next intake in September. Okay, so just want to make that quite clear. So it is important, as Hannah's been saying, to get your documents in as quickly as possible. And we've had some students who have actually had their offer out and they thought, well, that's it. They haven't read the documents to say you have to send it back and say, yes, please. So do complete and read all the instructions that the Central Student Support Team are sending out to you, because it really is important. You can just miss it by one day, which would be such a such a shame, and we don't want that to happen to you. Okay.
Yeah, no, exactly. So yeah, make sure you're unconditional. We need all your documents, and then as I said, make sure you've confirmed your place, and then keep chasing your agent or your counsellor about why you haven't got your CAS yet. Because you need to be really proactive to make sure you're also here on time to ready to start your classes. So yeah, I do also advise that you be really proactive and make sure you're yeah, you're fighting to get here on time. Okay. I think we've had all the questions so far. Does anyone have any last minute questions? Or anything you'd like to know from a student experience for Faizan? Okay. All right, well, we are at the hour, so I think we'll just say goodbye if not. But yeah, please do attend the pre-arrival webinar. And you've got Ksenia's email address about accommodation and about pre-arrival. So the slides we sent to you, make sure you reach out to her. And otherwise, yeah, we're really excited to see you at Aberdeen very soon. We wish you safe travels. Please do arrive on time. And yeah, we'll say goodbye and we'll see you very soon. Okay. All right. So bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye.